Hello, so it's me again. This is going to be my second CRP video, and in today's video I am going to cover visa application, visa process, going to the embassy and receiving your visa back. Okay, so you've now had your offer letter, you've done your CRB, you've probably done your flights, and maybe done a few other things. So the next thing is your visa. Now, the way that I dealt with mine was a little bit different, and I seem to have this experience every single time I do a program. There's always something that I've got to do differently to everybody else. Something I didn't explain in my last video is that my acceptance, it wasn't just a normal, here's a date because we need people to go out. I'm actually replacing somebody that's dropped out. Not someone that was already there and has left Disney and decided it's not for them, but someone that got the date that I got in food and beverage and decided that they just didn't want to go, or they found another commitment. So I'm now replacing that person. And if anybody is in my situation, don't panic when you don't get the visa email. So something that was done differently to the way that the summer program worked was that with the summer program you'd get what they call a Disney information pack, and it would come in a nice little paper envelope folder thing, and you'd have all of your offer letter, your visa instructions, your visa petition, and everything would be in there. This time everyone was getting emails with all the documents in that they needed, so the petition being the most important one. I didn't get mine via email. I had to have mine pushed through, and I got it sent to me on a 24-hour FedEx. So it came over from America. I did get an email the day before to say that I could track my parcel special delivery from Walt Disney World. I had no idea I had a package come in, so I was like, well, it's got to be my visa stuff. It arrived and it was in one of those like hard to fold envelopes, and inside it was my petition and something else and a letter. And once I read the letter through, on the petition, what you can see is you can see all the names of everybody that is arriving on the Q1, maybe on your Q visa. You share a petition and you can see all the names of everybody that's arriving on the same date as you, which is good because, you know, if you wanted to find people on Facebook and stuff, you have names to be able to go out and just like message them and be like, hey, you know, I'm coming on the same date as you. My name wasn't on the petition because I was so late in kind of joining that arrival group, because I only had like 3 months to prepare, because I was so late coming into it, and they had to rush it. They didn't have time to change the petition and change the girl's name for my name. So ultimately it meant that Disney then had to write a letter to explain that I was the substitute for that person. And that made me panic because I thought when I get to the visa appointment, that's going to cause problems. I'm going to end up getting held up and being interrogated more, which I'll get onto in a bit. Okay, so once you've got your paperwork in your email, I believe there's a link that you've already been kind of shown. Yeah, because I got that email to say where you could go on. And again, something that was different from the summer program is that before you had to ring the embassy and you'd be paying a premium rate number, and you'd be on the phone for like half an hour trying to book your appointment. This time you could go onto a website, you'd fill in all your details, or you do something called a DS-190, and that's basically your visa application, and that saves them asking you shed loads of questions at the embassy. It depends on how quickly you are at kind of putting information in. It took me about an hour to do it. I did do it kind of quite late at night, but yeah, it took me about an hour. I started at 11, finished at midnight. I decided because I was tired, you get a chance to review your application and just read and make sure everything's correct. Because I was tired, I decided to leave it till the next day to review it. So once I reviewed it, I saw that everything was correct. You can then submit it. You then have an option to print off your application with all the answers and stuff in it. If you're in a situation where you think you'll be applying for another program, I'd advise that you print this off. I did with my summer program, and it made some of the dates for things a lot easier to remember. For example, it asked you for your last 5 visits to the US. Now, I don't make a lot of trips. Obviously, the previous 2 are both my summer program. Oh no, that's a lie. I went at Christmas. Then the previous 2 before that were my 2 summer programs. Then I went again with family, and then the last time before that I went was when I was like 6. So remembering a date from that, bearing in mind I don't have the same passport, was really difficult. So I printed off my application, obviously after finding out this information when I went on my last summer program. So if you're thinking of doing another program, you're thinking you're going to apply for CRP again, or you haven't gone to uni yet, so you think you might apply for a summer program, print the application off because it'll help you in the future. If you're not, and you're just going to do the CRP, or you're just going to do the summer program, if you're watching this and you're doing the summer program, and you think this is going to be the one and only time you're going to do it, don't worry about it. It'd probably be about 10 pages long, so if you don't have the ink or you don't have the printer or the paper, don't worry about it. Then you do have to print out the final confirmation page. You get an option to upload a passport photo. Now, I hadn't had one done prior to doing my application, and it tells you that you have to upload one that's been taken within the last 6 months, I want to say. So because I didn't have one that looked like me, I decided just to leave it. I did try to upload a passport style, but one was like I'd just taken as a selfie, and it didn't accept that. So selfies, not allowed unless you're really lucky. So yeah, so if you don't get the chance to upload your passport photo, it doesn't work, or you just don't have one, don't worry about it, because then I went out and I got a hard copy, and you just take it to the embassy with you. Now, the one thing that's really important for embassy photos for your visa application is that American passport photo sizes are different to the UK. So in the UK, our passport photo size is 2x3 centimetres, and Americans are 5x5 centimetres. Anyway, so American ones are square, ours are rectangular. Which means you have to specifically go and find someone that does American visa photos or American passport photos, because they're both the same. This is really, really difficult. You can't just go to a passport photo shop and go have a passport photo done and take it. Although I suppose you could. I don't know what would happen. You might get it rejected. When I was at the embassy, I did see a lad that was in front of me that was told to go and get a photo done. They do have a photo booth inside the embassy, and it's £10. So it's a lot of money for something that you could probably get cheaper outside of the embassy. Now, I googled everything. I actually went to my local one, which was 5 minutes down the road, and just asked if they did visa application photos or American passport photos, and they said no. So I started googling, trying to work out where I could get it done. There is a pharmacy just down the road from the embassy called Gould G-O-U-L-D pharmacy. And this is the place where if you've got massive suitcase, it used to be the place where all electrical items was held, and you can pay £3 per item to have your luggage items stored at this pharmacy. They also do visa photos. So if you're panicking, you can't find anywhere in your area, and you're going down the night before, or you've got maybe a later appointment, you could go and get it done there, and it just takes a couple of minutes. However, if you have a Timpson, which is like a hardware key cutting, I don't know what else they do. Yeah, it's known as like a key cutting place. Yeah, but it's called Timpson, so Timpson. If you've got one of those in your area, well, they actually advertise themselves as doing passport photos for any country. So they then advertised that they do visa photos. So I was like, perfect. So I went 25 minutes into town and went in. I asked, and they've got this massive sheet on the wall, all the sizes, colour backgrounds, where your face has got to be like located and how small it's got to be, how big it's got to be. They know exactly what they're doing. So I would totally advise going to Timpson if you need a visa photo doing. So that's your photos. So once you've filled in your DS 190, 160, your online visa application, and you've submitted that, you can then go and book your appointment. When you book your appointment, it asks for the confirmation number that's on the top of your confirmation page for your DS 160. I think it starts with 2 capital A's, but it like tells you, and it's really, really big and bold, and it'll let you know exactly what number that it's asking for. So you then go in and you fill it in. So you have to create like an account. So you put in your basic information, you then put in your confirmation number, and then it gives you, then you pick your location, because you can go to Belfast as well. So if that's maybe slightly closer, potentially if you live near an airport, so if you live in Manchester, Belfast might be more convenient for you. If not, and you're going to London, you just pick London as your location, and then it'll give you a calendar. You click on the calendar and it has the dates that are available kind of blocked out. You pick that, then you look at the drop down box and you pick the time that you want. Okay, so once you've scheduled your appointment, you obviously need to decide whether you're going down the night before. I'd advise it, especially if, like me, you're getting an 8:30 in the morning appointment. You need to book your train, blah, 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 blah. So the actual appointment, I was still under the impression that, as the last time I went to the embassy, it was 2012, but you weren't allowed any electrical items. So it was no phones, no laptops, no iPads, nothing. So there was a pharmacy, that one I told you about before, the gold one, that held all of your items, and you'd pay £3. So it's £3 for a bag, and then it's £3 for every electrical item, and they would hold them there. Now when I got to the pharmacy in the morning, I said that I had my phone and my bag to hand in, and the guy in the pharmacy told me that they allow them into the embassy. Now this was at about 8:05. My appointment was past. I didn't really want to go down to the embassy, ask, find out, and then have to walk all the way back and then be late for my 8:30 appointment. So although I should have just believed him because he was right, I shoved my phone in my short pocket, which was inside my bag, and just gave him my bag, and then went to the embassy with nothing apart from my paperwork. So when you get to the embassy, they organise you in lines based on what your appointment time is. So 8:30 was the first line, and they'd started taking people for the 9 o'clock, but just in a reserve line. So you start in one line, you have to go up, you register, they'll then ask you for your appointment time, and then you'll go and join the actual line that's going into the embassy. So once you've registered, all they want is your confirmation page, which has like a barcode, no, your appointment page, which you get sent in an email. You then stand in the line till you get to the front. There'll be someone else there that will check more paperwork. Then you go through like a security airport style booth, where you walk through the little beepy machines, or your bags go through the x-ray. You pass that, you then start to walk up to the embassy. So when you come out of that, you turn right and you go around the building and up the stairs and inside, where there's like a reception area. They ask to see more paperwork, and then they'll give you a ticket with a number on it, like that. And that is the number that you need to watch for on the screen. So when you go in, there's just seats everywhere. You just find one, sit down. I did take a book in with me and I started reading it, but the screen's like dinging at you like every 15 seconds, that you just end up keep looking at the screen and looking back down your book. So I ended up putting that away. When I got into the embassy, the first number, they were already passed into the hundreds, so it was like on 115, I want to say. So being 156, I knew I didn't have that long to wait. I got into the embassy at 8:43, and I was out at 9:30. So it didn't take that long. It took 45 minutes to go through both sections, because you get to go to 2 different desks. So once your number gets called, you go to the window number, and then they ask for the start of your paperwork. So they'll ask for your passport, they'll ask for your DS-160 confirmation. They don't want to see your appointment thing at that time because you're already in the embassy, so they know that whatever appointment you have, you're fine to be here. They ask for the passport photo if you haven't given in one of those, and then they'll ask for your petition. I had a really friendly guy. He was just asking me what I was going to be doing in the States, asking me what I'd done in the States before, because I had 2 visa stamps on my passport already, and then that was it. So he barely asked me any questions at all, and the fact my name wasn't on the petition was not an issue. Then I was told to sit back down again. My number would then be called again, and I'd have to go through to a different desk. So yeah, I sat down maybe 5-10 minutes, and then my number was called again. I had to go round through the back. I accidentally stood in the toilet queue because I thought that was the queue to go round to the next desks. So I stood there for about 5 minutes before I realised that I'd gone the wrong way. And then finally, when I got round to the desk, she already had all my paperwork behind the window. She asked me what I was going to do in America, and that was literally it. There was no interrogation whatsoever. Which wasn't the case when I went in 2012. They were literally questioning me on everything. So all in all, it was quite a pleasant experience, I would have said, for a visa application. I came home, and the next day I got an email saying that my passport was on its way back, and I'd receive it the following day. So 48 hours and I had my passport back. So for something where I thought there was going to be major issues, it was the quickest thing ever. So now I've got my visa. I got my CRB through the post yesterday. I bought my dollars about a week ago, and I've started to pack. So I've got a month. A month yesterday was my arrival date, and I've got a holiday and a show to do in that time. So I'm hoping that time's going to pass really quickly. But yeah, so I think that's it for visa. It's really nothing to worry about. As I said in my first video, this whole process is all about waiting. So even when you've got a date, you're still waiting for emails to roll out. Like now, I've done everything I can possibly do, but I'm now waiting for my dorm's email to come through so I can request where I want to live. And then once I've done that, I'm waiting to get on my plane. So it's all about waiting. But yeah, so that's it for me for today, and I will see you real soon. Bye!